All right, there it is. Switching back here. Bada bing, bada boom. We about to start the game. But before we start the
Yeah.
game, we usually like to do this thing called group therapy. Also, Asa is awesome. We forgot to mention
Oh.
we forgot to mention that earlier, but
It's
then just go
only
ahead
because
and
of all of you that I am so awesome, because you are awesomer.
true that, true that. So, on to group therapy. It's a chance to recall what has happened recently and also respond in our character's perspective to what has happened recently. Would anyone else like to start?
I, I can start.
Sure.
um, well, um, okay. So Ellie thinks that Eridu is pretty much definitely dead, and in her grieving process has built a metal man, well, person, called Rue, who she has built in Eridu's image. So that's why I'm kind of like a man. But, and stayed up for like 3 nights in a row, and has now got 3 levels of exhaustion and is like the grumpiest person ever. um, she's been riling everybody up. She's been like causing in-group arguments. She has been very sassy to people. I'm gonna say I'm gonna use a different word. I'm gonna use the word sassy. And then straight up killed someone, chopped off another guy's arm in the same motion, essentially, and then slapped a guy with thunderclap. Um, so basically, where she's at is just a really bad mood. She is. I think she's going to very quickly start regretting some of the things that she's said, particularly to Aigner. But she's kind of just being fueled by grief and frustration at the minute, and protectiveness of Aru, I think.
No regrets.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Rue needs some protecting.
For
He's
sure.
just a baby. On that
Just a
note,
little baby.
if you're all done, I can take it away here.
Yeah.
Rue is feeling a whole lot of nothing as a 3-hour-old warforged. There's not a whole lot happening inside of his emotional center. However, whatever Leah's got going on is reflecting a little bit in Rue. But earlier, he was feeling very angry. He broke a table. He screamed at people about how displaced he felt, and then, in a very Data-like manner, realized he made everyone uncomfortable. So that's Rue. That's all he do.
For sure. Uh, I'll go ahead and go with Agner. Agner is feeling a lot of complicated things right now because I mean, like, obviously things are a little on the rocks with Ellie at the moment. There's been, like, some complications there. They're just, like, not really doing a good job of communicating necessarily. And then she had the gall to bring a Warforged into his house, which he's been freaked out about multiple times in the past. So now having one in his house, not really connecting, not being able to connect to this whole idea that this is supposed to be a metal Eridu at first, and then when he does like learn that, he's like, "You can't replace Eridu," like, "You're not my real dad," kind of vibe or whatever. Um, but yeah, he has had a kind of a shifting thought process there because Rue has definitely proven himself to be very useful. When it was announced that the ISCB was intruding on his land yet again, he got very pissed and went out to defend his whole situation. In the process, he learned, put two and two together, and realized that Ellie has had a very recent previous arrangement slash relationship with the ISCB. And then there was a big old battle. Earth Elemental got summoned. Agner fought the Earth Elemental. And then the last thing that happened was that Ellie came over to the ISCB person that was dominated by Leah, and then boom, magically bitch slapped that person, and then the thunderous sound was such that, and Egner was so close to it that he is just completely dazed at the moment. You know, it's like a flashbang goes off. Beep!
Was
it's
he
kind of like that.
thunderstruck?
You could say that. One might actually say that. So that's the hot take from Egner. Right now, he would be feeling a lot of things, but all he's got is this very high-pitched squealing sound in his ears, and yeah, not fun.
Okay. Got a lot of noise happening around my house. It's very windy over here. But anyway. Two things about Leah. One is that she is still heavily in denial over any possibility that Eridu might be actually dead. But kind of with that, but also not quite with that, she has very deeply buried the memory of what she did to Agrian during the whole bomb thing. And she's also kind of buried everything surrounding that moment, the power word pain moment. And so she actually doesn't really remember, or she's trying very hard not to remember the conversation that she had with Agrian, which means that she would have this great piece of information she could use to argue with Ellie about why the bomb couldn't possibly have gone off, because if it had, they would have felt it on every level because it goes across planes or whatever. She doesn't really remember that, though, because she's trying very hard not to think about that entire scene on the roof. So she just has, this vague notion that, no, there's a reason why Eridu can't possibly have exploded in a bomb. But now she's completely, in this moment, consumed by the urge to fix whatever's happening to this ISCB agent. She now, which is this is really fun because before she and Agner were against Ellie. Now she is going to be against Agner and Ellie because she wants to save this guy because she has dominated him and realizes that he is under some sort of he and the other agent are under some sort of a thing that means if they don't complete their mission, they'll get knives in their backs. And so she wants to release them from that. And so now she's on a mission that is going to put her at odds with everybody else in the party. So that's going to be fun.
Complicado.
So those are the two things about Leah right now.
So what I'm hearing is this is going to be a very drama-free game today.
Oh, yeah.
No, everyone's going to get along great. It's going to go really well.
All right.
Smooth
also,
sailing.
for those of you who are wondering, Eridu is feeling very dead. Just thought I'd
That's
throw
not
that out there.
true.
Totally
No.
true. There's no wiggle
No.
room. He's gone.
Still in denial.
You guys were all in denial. I deleted the
I'm
character
in
sheet.
denial.
He's dead.
No.
It's not true. Not true.
It's impossible.
That's right.
All right. Drew, take her away.
Drew's trying to decide portrait or landscape. Portrait or landscape.
I'm really sorry. Like everything crashed down on my end. Everything froze. I've not heard anything for the last 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
It's
no.
it's okay. Perfect timing. We're right where we should be.
Okay.
With you.
Cool. Great. So that was. I love the ending there of Leah's roundup. Totally heard all of it. I'm really sorry. I'm on my phone rather than my laptop because repairs. So hopefully that won't happen again.
We're only silently judging you.
Thank you. I would rather that it be silent.
Can't distract from the game.
So we are going to begin this session as we have with others in this episode with a flashback focusing on a particular character or group of characters. This one is going to be Aigner and Eridu. Back in the days before everything went crazy, before they met on and really important character died.
Akram.
There we go.
That's it. That's
Akram
it.
and on.
Akram lives. You remember that from episode 10?
Yes.
Akram lives, dude.
These two have been friends for a while before. I'm going to get to see the aftermath of an adventure. They've just arrived back at the place where Aigner calls home. There's a hillside where during this late afternoon, while the sun is beginning to set, there are foodstuffs, drink.
Uh-oh.
Well, I'm gonna assume there are drinks. I'm gonna make that assumption, unless he was gonna say dreams or something like that.
No, there's definitely drinks. Specifically, Aigner's still got, at this time, even though it's kind of a while ago in this flashback, Aigner's still got his whiskey still, and he's been getting it going on a nice big batch, and we're hanging in Aigner's house, but at this point, it's not the much upgraded, much fancier abode that he's got in Bronzewood Grove. It's this is it's kind of it's like a lean-to. It's like glorified camping, you know what I mean? It's not just camping. They've got shelter, but it's pretty rough shelter. But you know,
no digloos.
No digloos. No, it's yeah. But you know, they're relatively warm enough. There's a nice fire. There's a nice area where the they're not getting smoked out too bad. There's kind of a chimney deal. But it's nice, cozy, warm, if a little dirty. There's a roughly made table, upon which several playing cards are scattered.
All right. Eridu is just taking a sip of the whiskey that Aigner is currently testing and leans back against a wall while sitting on a cushion and just says, it's not as bitter as I had expected. Perhaps it could use a little more lavender?
Lavender?
Why not? It's a wonderful flavor. Just mix it in with anything.
Eridu, only you would suggest something like that. Now, obviously what this needs is a little spice to it. And at that, he actually takes a little dried chili that he has, and he just snaps it in half, and kind of messes with the one half a little bit, and sprinkles in just raw chili dust into his drink a little bit.
And this is why I typically stick with wine.
Well,
I like to taste my flavors as they're going down.
I made some of that too, but I don't think you'll want it. It's it's really bad.
Well, of course it's bad. You haven't let it age. You can't just make a bottle of wine and then taste it.
Fair. Well, Eridu, are you sick of losing at cards yet?
It's only a matter of perspective as to who's winning and who's losing. The last 3 rounds may have set me back, but I think I'm on the right track right now.
Everything's a philosophical game with you, Eridu. You know what? That's why I like you. That's why I like you. You make me think of more than I would normally. You make me think of more than... Yeah. He just kind of trails off, and in his eyes you see that kind of haunted look that he's often got.
Eridu lets the game cards lie where they're at and begins to shuffle a different deck that he's just pulled from his robes. Would you like a reading?
A what now?
I've been trained in a few different divination arts. I could tell you a future, a past, a present.
Egner gives you a strange look, as if he's trying to figure out if you're bullshitting him or not. Are you talking about magic? Are you? Can you do magic?
Divination is not a magic. It's simply the ability to read between the lines of the universe. Some things help to channel those. Cards are good.
Um, is this gonna hurt? Uh,
It's just a card, Agner. How much could that hurt?
oh, okay. All right. And then he gets this look on his face, like he's a little embarrassed that he asked such a stupid question. Sorry, you know. And then he'll drink a little bit of whiskey, go into a bit of a coughing fit because of the raw chili dust that he put in there. Why was that a good idea? Why was that a good idea? And after he has this last couple of violent coughs, he'll clear his throat. All right, let's do this thing. I'm ready to see some shit.
Eridu shuffles the deck one last time, making it a 7. The 7th shuffle. Lays the cards, spreads them wide, draws one, takes a look. Agner, roll a perception check.
Okay. I'm just gonna say he had lower proficiency bonus at that time. Kind of eyeballing it. Yeah, it's like 10.
Alright. Eridu stares at the card a little longer than what might seem necessary. It could be the alcohol. And then gives a knowing smirk and lays it back in the deck. Brings them together, shuffles them one more time, and says, "All right, let's begin."
Okay. Yeah. Just tell me what to do if I need to do anything. I don't know what's going on.
So I'm gonna go ahead and give Drew the thing here. Is that a good place to stop?
Yeah, I think that's a good place to get back to the slap scene, as Igor looks like he's about to be hit with some knowledge. Let's see him get hit with a shockwave.
Yay! I love
Just
shockwaves.
Flies into Ignor's face as the shockwave concusses the side of his head. It knocks him aside. His hearing is momentarily gone. He would be excused for drifting back momentarily to his experiences in Finnegan's Fimporium, but he lost all of his senses.
Oh yeah. It was bad. And this similarly pretty bad.
It is night. We're on a hillside outside of Ignor's abode. And Ellie has just cast Thunderwave while backhanding this ISCB agent in front of Leah, in front of Ignor, in front of Rue. We'll take it from there. Conversation happens.
Can I have Leah be the one reacting at the moment?
Yeah?
Sure.
Okay. So then what Ellie is going to get, and presumably everyone else within range, is just a flash of fury and frustration. And Leah will yell, "What do you think you're doing?"
And
But
then cutting over that, Rue will just yell, "Ah!"
Oh no. Sorry, Rue. Sorry.
Thank you for activating my rage.
Yeah. Oh no. This is only going to go well. Leah's actually going to no, that's a great idea, because as he's screaming, Leah will suddenly realize what she's doing. That, oh no, she's making the situation worse by screaming and having all these feelings. But the problem with Leah is that she believes now, after many, many years, that she can't control her emotions. The only thing she can control is kind of sometimes whether they affect other people. So what she has to do in order to accomplish anything right now is take her own emotions under control, because she can't cast calm emotions on herself. She's got to maintain this dominant thing.
Can I, before, so in that like snap second of you getting angry and that like flash of like adding fuel to what already is like Ellie's massive fire of anger right now. So with Ellie, so she's just slapped this guy, Thunder, and there's a brief moment of where she pulls her hand away and there's a little bit like surprise. It's like it's almost like brought her back to herself very slightly. And then this like flash of anger just hits her. And when she's looking down at her palm and then balls it into a fist and turns around to Leah and shouts, "Turn that off."
Cool. I like it. Yeah, and that will, I think Leah will feel pretty thunderstruck. Like, hey. Like, I can't. Wait, no, I have to. If I don't, then everything gets destroyed and everything I'm trying to do right now will be pointless and I will be a terrible person. In fact, if I do not do this thing, I am a monster. So with stakes like that, she is going to actually realize that the only thing she has left to do is control her own emotions and like actually take a moment and deal with them instead of just thinking, no, I have to fix this with magic or whatever. So she will take a really deep breath and realize all of the factors going into this. And I think probably in that moment, she'll look at Ellie and realize that Ellie looks terrible. Like, perhaps.
All right.
Just telling it like it is. She hasn't slept. She looks really, really tired. She looks probably a little broken.
Fucking strung out, dude.
There are factors.
Oh, she still looks good.
Sure. Yeah. Everyone looks great after 3 days of no sleep. And she'll feel a sense of pity toward Ellie in that moment, and realize that the thing that's needed right now more than anything is compassion. So she'll breathe out and say, Ellie, I'm sorry. Please don't slap this person. I'm trying to get information. I realize you can't see everything that's going on right now. But it's important, and I'm gonna need your help soon.
I'm gonna narrow my eyes at Leah and then not say anything. And I'm gonna turn and I'm just gonna walk over to Guy's body and I'm gonna basically search through his stuff. I'm looking for the sending stone and then I'm looking for like anything else he might have.
I think this would be a decent time for Egner, who right now is curled up in the fetal position on the ground, his shield and Talon's blade being like kind of thrown to the side for the moment. He's in the fetal position. He's clutching his ears, and his like momentary dazedness is starting to wear off, but he still has this just high-pitched like tinnitus, like me kind of sound in his head, and he decides to scream something to see if he can like hear himself scream. Also, he's just venting frustration, but what he finds is that when he screams, like all he gets, like he doesn't hear himself, but he gets the physical sensation of his vocal cords going wild, and he yells, "What the fuck?"
I'm just gonna ignore him and walk past him and go to the body.
He can't even sense that you are close to him at all. He is completely oblivious to what's going on.
Yep, and Leah's gonna have to ignore him too, because she's still trying to get a little more information out of this mage before she has to figure out how to put him under.
Rue would probably be the
Rue-
closest to Aigner.
Rue will step over to Aigner and grab him by the arm and yank him to his feet and say something to him that Aigner can't hear because his ears are still ringing.
Mm-hmm.
But other people might hear.
Other people hear him say, "You are experiencing trauma. You will need to relax for a moment. Perhaps your hearing is damaged. I cannot tell. I am not a doctor.
Oh my goodness.
Can you hear me?
Oh,
If you cannot read my lips,
I love Rue so much right now. Like Egner is still got to warm up to Rue, but I love Rue. But since Egner is getting, taken up to his feet and he has no way of like orienting himself, like his balance is shot right now, because his ears are just messed up, So essentially, when he gets yanked up by Rue, he just flops onto Rue and is just like holding Rue's shoulders, completely leaning all of his dead weight on Rue and just completely relying on Rue for support.
Sweet. While Aigner and Rue are having that moment, Ellie, you're going to search the bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've got 2 downed ISCB agents and 1 still kicking.
Yeah.
So you go and search their robes. Could you give me an investigation check?
1 second. Investigation. Okay. 19. I'd like to do Guy first. He's like
Sure. There we go. Get my notes. Right. Sorry, what was your total?
19.
19. Do. This is how totally prepped I was. Okay. On this guy, you find 19. You say.
Mm-hmm.
You find that there is a ornate, jeweled, silver horn. Looks like a hearing horn.
Okay.
A viewing lens. Looks like a small handheld crystal ball.
Okay.
And 3 scrolls. 2 of the scrolls are spell scrolls. The third one is a map.
Ooh.
And you find that on the one body. On one of the others, you find a solid black stone. Looks like polished obsidian.
Okay.
And it's about the size of your fist.
Okay.
It's a big hunk.
Do I get my sending stone back? Because I was looking for the one who had my sending stone originally.
Oh, yes. You'll be able to retrieve the sending stone.
Okay. Quick glance at the map. Like, she's not spending a lot of time, but is it, like, immediately familiar or not?
It's not immediately familiar.
Okay. I am gonna, like, stuff everything just, like, into my bag. And then I want to march back over to where Leah is with the guy. And through gritted teeth, say to Leah, so are you getting information from him or something?
We'll just time jump back about 2 minutes and have Leah approach this guy, get some info, and then we'll cut to Ellie coming in and asking that. So as Ellie goes off towards the bodies, Rue is picking up Eichner and saying things, but that's just muffled noise in the background. Leah, you approach the person who was thrown back about 15 feet, the ISB agent that you are currently still dominating.
Yeah, so she's prepared to do the spell 2 more times before she can't do it anymore, because otherwise she probably won't have enough time. So quickly she's going to ask this person, what's the best way to incapacitate you until we can get this compulsion removed?
Again, psychically. I do not know. Knocking me unconscious will only work for minutes at a time. Maybe an hour, but that usually leads to some damage. Sleep? Maybe? I have no... Binding me. If I am unable to get free of my bonds, then binding me, as much as I will continuously attempt to break them, there's some leeway there. I may be able to convince myself that I'm trying as hard as I can.
Some legal gray area with the harmful spell on him.
Right. Okay. Her next question will be, is Edoras under the same compulsion? Do you know?
He was. It's only used when we show signs of questioning the master plan.
But you don't know who is issuing the master plan, only that everyone has to follow it?
He calls himself the Undying One.
Right. And what about Jaren? How's he doing?
Forgot about that guy.
Was Liam the only person who remembers the guy she almost made kill himself?
Yep.
Damn!
I remember Jaren.
Yeah.
Just
The
forgot
person
about
who
its
invented
relevance to
Jaren.
the plot.
You don't know, I'm going to take off my hat and hang it on the wall for a moment, because I should retire right now. Who was Joran again?
Oh my god! You're like a legit asking that.
Jaren was the member of the ISCB who led the first kind of invasion into Bronzewood Grove.
Yep.
Who kidnapped Emily, who was kind of working for Zarkon. He had like the Z on his helmet.
Exactly. And he
Power
was
Ranger style.
And he was the one that Agner specifically tracked down when they made it into Twin Harbor and they went to the square, and Agner was using that divination spell, and he got brought straight to Jaren, and then that kicked off a whole shitty situation.
Yep. All these things happened.
This is the thing, just a 2-week gap is all it takes, and that is just...
No, I feel it, dude. I'm still feeling kind of out of it, baby.
That was
I get
that was when I DM'd.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then I DM'd it and I forgot he was even
Yeah,
there. You know.
Harry also
That's-
forgot Jaren.
I was like, oh yeah, he's there.
Forgot that he was even around at the end.
And Joran was there too.
Leah just kept dragging him along because she wanted to make sure that she has this weird thing where once she takes over a person's mind, she kind of assumes responsibility for them. It's like she feels guilty about what she's done, so now she has to make sure they're going to be okay.
Oh man.
She's just done that just now with this ISCB guy, and she did it with Jaren. So
Complicated.
Those
I love
TV
it.
shows where like a character gets severely underused and you wonder why the writers don't do anything with them.
Mhm.
That's probably why they just forget he's even there,
Yep.
Yeah.
or she.
Yeah.
The actor just turns up on set and they're like, "What am I doing? Oh, just you're also there."
There.
So what is happening with Joran? You know what? I can't see the chat. I'm going to make him a chat NPC for this scene. Whatever people in the chat say he's doing,
For who?
Well, I mean,
I
maybe,
can't see the chat though. so
maybe
you
this guy might not know what he's doing. Though, to be fair,
That's fair.
he's only like a minion of the ICB. He doesn't necessarily know what he's doing. So
What Jaren's up to.
That's a fair
Yeah.
point.
go with that.
So, chat, tell us what Jaren's up to.
Anyway.
Context doesn't matter.
Yep.
And then she'll ask, do you know, like, magically speaking, what could potentially break this compulsion? Other than maybe killing the person issuing it. Because she doesn't know that much about magic.
Very, very powerful magics. Specifically, a greater restoration,
Mm.
which will involve things and stuff. Yes, he knows that it's a ritual that will involve diamond dust.
Diamond dust is a girl's best friend.
Well, it's this person's best friend, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You know,
Okay.
it just gives the spell an extra kick, gives it a bit of a bump, you know.
So that's the dust of hope.
Oh.
That's what that is. That's the whole name of the episode thing.
Asa was right, it is a drug.
It's a drug for spells, but yeah, it's a drug.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
is consumed in the casting of the spell.
Oh my gosh.
Just a wizard doing a line before casting.
Doing a key bump off their wand. You know, like, yeah, dude.
This is why we
You
never
know.
get monetized.
Yo, it's not worth it if we can't do shit like this, man.
Right.
I've recently learned about tabletopless. It's a thing.
Is it exactly what it sounds like?
And a little more so.
Ooh.
Yeah. So,
Cool.
All right. So,
Yeah.
can you hear me? Have your senses returned?
So at this point, Agner, the ringing sound is still there, but it's faded slowly. So the muffled sounds are slowly getting a little more clear, but they're still so muffled that he can't even tell. But he's getting the impression that even though Rue is a bit stiff and mechanical in the way that he's probably holding and trying to console Agner, Agner gets the somewhat kind of sense that he's being taken care of. So all he does is just give
You
a
are
big
being
old...
taken care of.
Oh.
Agner just gives the thing a big old slap on the back and just goes, yeah,
Do not
Agent."
attempt to damage me. I am trying to assist you.
Agner's just groaning and slapping Rue on the back and, yeah, just being taken care of.
He's
at
fighting me.
at this point, I think Ellie approaching Leah and asking what she's got so far would be appropriate.
Yes, but I can't talk about it here. Help me tie this person up and gather everyone. I need to tell them what's happening.
Can you? So, You're asking him questions?
I'll explain everything in a minute.
You're asking him questions.
Please just trust me on this. Please.
Fine. I will tie the guy up.
Okay. Yeah. I need everyone else as well. I need to talk to them. So I guess Leah will she'll put a hand on Ellie's shoulder and say thank you for being patient with me. This is important.
Ellie shrugs, doesn't
Yeah.
say anything.
Yeah. And then Leah will go over to the very loud thing that is happening with Rue and Agner and try and figure out what's going on.
Are you the doctor? This one is in shock. It keeps attempting to attack me.
Agner, are you okay? Are you attacking this thing?
Ah.
Huh.
Should
I don't know what
should
all I
I
can-
slap it back?
At this point, I'm going to shout over to Rue directly, and say, just pick him up and take him into the house.
Yes, ma'am. Rue will just lift Agner and walk him into the house.
And Agner just keeps groaning.
Leah will grab the agent and bring him toward the house, but not into it. She wants to be able to keep an eye on him.
Okay, I go in the house, arms folded, not really talking to anyone.
Inside the house are Emily, Marjorie, and Alan, right?
Yes, they're all there.
Okay. Okay, I need someone to be able to keep an eye on this person that I've parked outside of our house, but I don't. I also want to tell everyone what's going on, so I guess I'll just have to fill someone in later. Who wants to keep an eye on them?
Are you saying
Looks around and raises a hand.
Are you saying this out loud?
Yes.
Alan's super helpful.
I speak up and say Marjorie doesn't need to hear this. She can go outside.
Actually, I think Marjorie might be useful in this situation. She also is a mage. So maybe, Alan, go ahead.
All right. Bye. So it keeps poking his head through the door, almost as if someone's going to stop him at some point. But then he eventually closes the door fully.
Rue shouts, "Alan!"
Alan!
Leah will open the door and poke her head out just to make sure that Alan isn't just running for the hills.
No, he in fact was standing in front of the door, sort of lingering for a few moments longer than he should have. When you open the door on him, he goes, no escape attempts so far.
So helpful, Alan.
Good. Good. I'm counting on you. Right. So.
As
Alan just wants to be included.
Yeah.
Just wants to be part of the team.
as Agner is brought into the house and laid on his bed by the very gentle Rue, I mean, probably moderately gentle, robotic, yeah, just kind of throw him down on the bed.
Are you comfortable?
He collapses onto the bed.
Your comfort is irrelevant.
Ugh. Then he gets up. He knows he's in his bed, and he knows that there's the window opening just right there that's usually just wide open to the elements. There's a curtain that he puts on there sometimes. But he just gets himself up on the windowsill, opens up the curtain, throws his head out, and just pukes. just pukes like in this
Buddy.
disgusting, like wretched, or rather, I would say ratchet, in this very kind of ratchet way. And then he gets back down on his bed, wipes his mouth, and at this point, he's still got a ringing in his ears, but he's actually being able to pick up words, like very faintly, just these words. And he just groans, "What the hell happened?"
You want to explain, Ellie?
Slapped a guy. What? Do you expect? It's loud.
With a spell.
Yeah?
It wasn't very nice.
I mean, they just came into this place and attacked us. That wasn't very nice.
They were
Slapping
under
them
a
was
compulsion.
nothing. Well, I don't know what they did.
No, I do. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I got
Okay,
into this
but you
guy's
didn't
head.
tell me before I slapped him.
I couldn't tell you. I was afraid that if I said it out loud, that guy would get knives. in his
Well,
head.
maybe you should have got the knives. I don't know.
You don't know that. This is he could have been a perfectly innocent person before this mastermind put him under some sort of a compulsion.
Well, the ISCB, they're not innocent.
We don't know that. We don't know how far it goes.
I mean,
They're being controlled by some entity that is forcing them to do things, and if they don't do them, they die.
I will say what's different in that to what we do to half the people that we end up around. Isn't that what you're doing now?
It's
You're,
what I'm
you're
trying
controlling him, right?
very,
Isn't
very
that what Halifax does half the time? Controls people. I mean, it doesn't make us a bad guy.
It does. It
Doesn't
does make us
them-
bad. It makes us all bad people. Terrible people.
Whatever.
Rue will step forward and put an arm on Ellie's shoulder and an arm on Leah's shoulder and say, I know I have not been alive for long, but I have learned in my life that sometimes people need control. Not everyone knows what they must do, and sometimes they must be nudged in the right direction. Does this help? Are you comforted?
Good work, Rue. Thank you.
I'm not sure how you've learned this in the 3 hours that you've been in existence.
I have observed the both of you. You are kind and caring, and yet you know when decisions must be made. Sometimes those like me, who do not have the knowledge and experience, must be taught.
Teaching is one thing. Taking away someone's free will is another. I don't want to do it. The only reason I'm doing it now is in hopes that we can fix this. But in the meantime, we just need to keep this person unable to freely act.
Allow me to ask a question.
Yes.
What is free will, and why is it relevant?
Oh, Rue. it's a big question for right now.
Always asking the philosophical questions, just like Eridu.
Let's
Who is
discuss that
Eridu?
later. You know.
Egner didn't actually say that. Egner's actually, if Egner said anything, it's, I don't know what's happening right now.
Emily will chime in at this point, actually. The whatever Rue is, while speaking too broadly, might be asking a somewhat relevant question. If we're binding him, stopping him from acting at all, if we're trying to choose the right path, the right thing to do, how is that any different from forcing his hand into doing something that he otherwise wouldn't want to do?
My hope is that I believe that he may have agreed to one thing but not the other. While I was speaking to him, he thanked me for stopping him from continuing down this path. And I asked him what would be the best way to keep him from returning to this path. And tying him up seemed like the best thing to do until we could give him the chance to follow his own path again. It's so complicated and muddy, and I don't know what the right thing to do is really, but I just want what I've done to do something good and not bad.
I, for one, think that you're performing admirably, Leah. I don't think a better decision could be made. And you've gathered us all here to help inform us all, and we can all provide counsel as we are doing now. I think that's wise, and I stand by whichever decision you decide on, Leah. You're the one that's been speaking to this person, and you're setting a good example, I think. Marjorie, however, will stand up and disagree. Now, you're exchanging one form of control for another. I agree that form of control isn't inherently evil. I agree with Ellie.
Don't agree with me, lady. Come on.
Ellie's like, hold on, I've changed my mind.
Yeah. I'm so torn.
Almost like Drew's doing that on purpose.
I'm gonna. Ellie just like frowns at Marjorie and just says, "I don't need your help in this argument." And then I'm gonna turn to Leah and say, "Look, I need to know a couple of things from him. I need to know if John has this thing going on, if he's under this compulsion thing too. I need to know how I get in contact with him, and ideally, I would like to send this guy back to John with this, my other sending stuff.
John, well, Edoras is under the compulsion.
That is. Okay. See, me, player, didn't remember, and nobody answered me in any chat.
Oh, I am not
I
on
do not remember the
Twitch.
question.
It's fine. It's fine. Okay. Right. Well, even so. Ugh. No, I still want to talk to him. So, find out, how...
Tell me what questions you need to ask, and I will ask them. If you ask him out loud and he has to respond out loud, he will die.
Ask him if there is a way for us to get in touch with or contact John.
Mm-hmm.
And how.
Okay.
Thank you.
Leah will go out the door.
The Dominate Person spell lasts for 1 minute. And so, since the telepathy only lasts while you've got the Dominate Person spell active, it might be wise if there are any follow-up questions, any other bits of information, to plan them out now, so that you don't run out of time.
Yeah. I think I only have I only have 2 more opportunities to use it. So
in theory, you've got 2 minutes worth of questions.
Yeah.
I would say that for the questions and the answers, for them to be sufficient, you'll get 2 to 3 questions a minute, depending on the questions.
Okay. Then yeah, so before she goes out, she'll be like, I will only have a very short amount of time to ask these. Are there any additional questions that you want?
Do you need to know what their plan is? Do we need to... have you already asked that? What they're...
I haven't, although I'm not sure that he knows, but I will ask specifically.
Maybe what are they doing about the bomb?
Okay. Anyone else?
I I want to say something saucy with Egner, but I still don't think that he's in like the state of mind to really say it. I'm on the
Rue
fen-
is
on the
pondering the
fence.
meaning of life.
Yeah. Aw.
What is the meaning of life, the universe, and everything? All I keep finding when I ask this question is 42.
42. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Leah will go out the door now. Is everyone still there?
Yep. Eric is still not Eric.
Alan!
Alan is still there.
Alan!
Alan is still
All of
there.
a sudden, we sent Drew's son to watch this guy. That is very irresponsible of us. He's just a child.
Yeah.
He said he could do a cool cartwheel if I let him out. So I let him. No. Alan and the ICB mage are both still there. Mage still tied up. Alan not tied up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Alan is in fact sat next to this person and is talking to him about his bar. How he had this really cool plan where he would approach new sellers and purchase items from them and do what he calls specials, like a new meal every day, just based on whatever he could buy that day. And he thinks this is a really great idea. It could really take off.
I want to know how the ISCB agent is responding.
The ISCB agent thinks it's a pretty good idea, but he should consider making sure that he buys things as cheap as they can. Perhaps going to different stalls and seeing what's almost gone bad. And then maybe they'll sell it to him for cheap. And whatever doesn't sell within the first day, he can then chop into little bits and cook into a stew for the second day.
Roll for mischief. Come for the role playing. Stay for the business advice. Yeah.
And if all else fails, there are plenty of stray dogs.
No.
So the ICB agent is just sort of glumly nodding along. He's not enthralled with the conversation. And you can see him struggling with the ropes, almost like passively and compulsively. Like he's just sort of twisting his hand around.
Okay. Thank you, Alan. You can go back inside for a moment.
No problem. And heads straight inside the building. When he gets inside and shuts the door, you can hear him go, "So, fire for me, fire."
Oh, buddy.
Rue is still in the room, and he turns to Alan and says, "Biscuits and gravy. Maybe one day a week."
He will then sit next to Rue and talk to Rue about his idea for specials.
Rue nods appreciatively the whole time, and then cocks her head and says, "What makes these special?"
You don't get them every day, Rue. You're not getting it. I'll start again.
All right, move on to the scene that progresses the story.
Yep.
You're right. Mm-hmm. Right. Leah will put a hand on this guy's shoulder and say, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to do this again." And then do the thing again.
He has to try and resist, unfortunately. So, was it wisdom saving throw? Wisdom saving throw.
18.
Is he trying to resist resisting? Because then he could roll at disadvantage.
Ooh.
Self-imposed.
But then if he tries to resist resisting, does the spell kick in, and then he is going to take the effects of that?
Ooh.
Don't make it more complicated than it needs to be.
So this
Then
is
he has to
my
try to
first.
resist resisting. And then,
Oh my god.
How
So
long?
my
did that
first
go on?
roll for mischief die roll of the new year.
Oh,
Should I use my new shiny D24s?
wait, what?
D24s. Ooh.
Wow,
I'm
interesting.
yet to find the use.
Wow.
Now that's your cheating die right there. That's your good old fashioned cheating die.
Natural 23. Oh, like.
Oh dang! Oh dang!
Well, there's another spot used.
Yep, so that's one slot, and you can see as he tries to like strain, like he's trying to send a thought your way, and he realizes that there's no connection established.
He's just looking at you very intently.
She's gonna look so sad. But she's gonna do it again.
Cool. Uh, 15 this time.
Haha! I succeed.
Okay.
All right.
So, real quick, out of character
Yeah.
question: do we know what spell he's under as characters? And if we do we know what school of magic it is?
Leah
I
doesn't.
don't think we do as characters yet, no.
Okay.
But that wouldn't stop one of you from doing an Arcana check.
I mean, maybe Rue should just punch him, and we'll just see what happens.
No. Not while I'm doing a thing, dude. Anyway,
The link is established.
good. Right. In lieu of repeatedly apologizing, which is what she desperately wants to do, she'll ask him. Oh no, I forgot the questions. I'm sure she remembers the questions though. So tell me what they are.
One of them is like, what is their plan? The other
Yeah.
one is how to get in contact with John, who is also Edoras, right?
Right.
Yeah, those are the two I remember hearing.
Okay.
There was a third one, I'm sure.
I asked if he was under the spell, but he is. Like, you're right.
Yeah,
Tell me,
Edoras.
I just didn't know their names. It's
Oh,
John
okay.
to me. So,
Right. We're trying to see if we can get into contact with Edoras, although perhaps we shouldn't. What would be the best way to do that if it ended up being a good idea?
Sorry, everything just froze there for a minute for me.
Oh, sorry. Leah asked the question about getting in contact with Edoras.
Okay. So yes, he says that there are several ISCB agents that are being repositioned. They're being moved around like chess pieces. He suspects that part of that is to help confuse what the chain of command is, since things are moving around. So he thinks that Edoras has been moved to somewhere further north. He then flashes an image into your mind of the specific location, and it's a small underground facility. It's an old dwarven fort that's been abandoned and since taken over by the ISCB.
Does he also like give her an image of like where it is on a map or something? Or
Yeah,
ask
you get
that.
a good idea of like relatively where it is. So it's about 75 miles north.
Okay. Okay. If we did try to contact Edoras, do you think that he would potentially get knives in his back if he tried to tell us anything?
Probably.
That's what I was afraid of.
Yeah. A lot of people, after a while, succumb to the suggestions and things. So rather than having to be compelled to do the job, they just start agreeing of their own free will.
It's awful. Okay, what was the other question again? I'm so sorry. I did not sleep well last night.
What their plan was.
Oh, right. Do you know what the plan is from this Undying One? What they seem to be doing in all of this shifting and changing and directing?
The Undying One is trying to achieve a state where they come back. They are bandying about theories like in like the staff room or whatever of the ICB. A few ICB members have a theory that Zarkon might have set something in motion and might be coming back in a big way. Other people think that it's someone just trying to use that idea as a cover and additional fear mongering to help hide the fact that they're trying to pull some massive heist and just steal loads of stuff from the ICB while everyone's distracted. The other theory that he has is that this is something to do with the war, the fact that it's escalating to the point of armed conflict between the sides, that one side or the other has influenced the ISCB. And so the ICB is being redirected towards more military targets.
Mm.
Oh man.
He's not certain which, but those are the three theories he has. All of which are bad.
All of which are bad?
I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of this may have been foreshadowed in previous episodes.
Weird.
I feel that way.
Strange.
Quite bizarre.
Right. Oh dear. Whoops. Okay. Well, I think that's about all the time I've got.
That's it. He does leave behind the psychic impression that he is, again, grateful for the chance to at least think for himself in his own mind for a brief amount of time. And that while he is by no means eager to die, he has spent the last 20 minutes or so while you guys were inside, like, having a little briefing, thinking about it, and he will accept whatever decision you guys make about his fate. He knows that there are broader things afield than just whether or not he lives.
Shit.
She will once again apologize profusely and tell him that she wants to do everything in her power to save him. And then she'll leave.
The moment your dominate person drops and you know that it's dropped, you can see him try and bite back for a brief moment, and then he spits out, "You need to let me go. I've got a wife and child. They're holding them against their will, and they will slaughter them the moment I don't report back in. You have to let me go right now."
Oh shit.
No, she's gonna think he should have told me that while I was in his head. This is something else. But she can't confirm that because she's out of spells. So she's gonna feel a little terrible, a little bit terrible.
Just a little bit guilty. Just a little bit.
Right.
Please, you have to let me go.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You're condemning innocents to death.
Damn, dude. Homie's laying it on thick.
So mean.
Hey, when you're compelled to do anything that you can to get out of there.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that definitely hits Leah in all of her buttons, so...
So, in this moment, I would like to be sitting there listening to Alan. I've begun to ask about eating food and why that matters.
I was waiting for that.
And then I'm going to kind of stop and look around and detect anything magical within 30 feet from me. Now, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. This is partially me metagaming. But the other part of it is, this is an ability in my class that I haven't really used yet, and I kind of just want it to be a thing that just activates without me willingly doing it.
Mhm.
So I'm
Hmm.
metagaming, but in a way
And I
that
do
makes
that all the
sense.
time. So
So any magical presence within 30 feet of me, I
What?
can sense them.
What I was gonna say, I was gonna do while she was outside was put all of this, like, start looking at all of the stuff I took from the people outside. So it kind of, I'll have them out.
Hmm.
Ooh.
Okay.
That shit's
With the
probably
detect magic.
magical.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Well,
probably
okay.
magical.
So what I'm gonna
Or
hone
useful.
in on. Well, actually, no. You tell me what's magical. I'll tell you what I'm gonna hone in because I don't know yet. There might be something that's actually more interesting to me than what I think is going to be interesting.
So the small orb has residual magic on it, but it is not in itself magical. A spell has been cast on it or through it recently. The same is true with the black obsidian, but the other items, no lingering traces of magic at all. The two of the scrolls that were spell scrolls, they come off as magical. Marjorie has a great deal of magic emanating from her bandolier. Yeah, that's right. The ISCB guy through the wall.
Okay.
So the horn isn't magical?
Sorry?
The horn isn't magical?
The horn is not magical.
Looking around, I'll kind of like take a moment, and if Alan's still talking to me, I'm now ignoring him, but like kind of like to register everything that I've seen that's magical, and then I'll stand up abruptly and walk out the door. Possibly about the time Leah's conversation is ending, and turn and look at the ISCB guy who is now complaining about his family. And within the respects of the detect magic spell, I can see a faint aura, and I can learn of its school. What's the school of magic surrounding him?
The School of Magic is enchantment.
I was gonna
Okay.
call it. I was gonna say enchantment. You beat me to it.
I'm gonna like kind of cock a head at him.
You'll also get an idea of the strength of the aura as well. It's about middle of the road
Okay.
in terms of brightness.
I'll question. No, I'll ask him directly. Why are you magical?
On a scale of 1 to 9, it's 5. How do you respond?
Leah could respond.
You know what? You ask why he's magical? He'll say, there's a spell cast upon me that means I'll explode if I don't become untied within a small amount of time. I'll explode and I'll take this entire hillside with me. You need to let me go.
At this, I will like bulk up and look a little, like stand up a little bit straighter and look a little bit more intimidating. Step up to him and say, "Your magic is a threat. It must be eliminated." And then I'll grab his collar and punch him.
Oh no.
Well, I built him. It makes sense.
As violent as its maker.
Makes sense.
I mean, I get advantage, right? Because he's tied up.
Yes, you do.
I crit.
Ah!
I mean,
Your magic is a threat. It must be eliminated. I am magical RoboCop.
right. Hold on a second. I got all kinds of die to roll, and I gotta figure out what they are because I get special die and a
So
crit.
a whole bunch of D4s, right?
Yeah, and then I gotta figure out how many that is. I think it's yeah. It's
Yeah, you need to get a DC 15 check for your dispel magic as well.
Okay. So hold on. My 3 rolls without adding the crit damage to this yet are so 2 4s and a 3. And then I had that and it went away. 2, so that's 13 plus my strength modifier. So it's 16 damage, and my first dispel magic was a 5. So, seeing that his magic is still on him, I'm gonna punch him again.
Oh my god.
The Kill him.
Let's see what happens first. Him getting knocked out, or
or
Use
the
solid
magic going
magic.
away. 22 is the hit for that one.
yep, that'll hit.
That's 7 damage,
So Rue just punches the magic out of people?
pretty much.
Amazing.
That's another 5, and my last attack in this moment. No, I only get 2 attacks per round, so that's my 2 attacks.
And just to remind me, the thunder wave damage from the last session was what, 17, 19 damage, something like that.
Can't remember.
Oh,
So-
I
something
can
like-
find that out. Hang
It's
on.
3d8, so
I'll math my own damage here. Hang on.
it's thunderclap, not thunderwave. Just
Oh.
you check the names.
It's Thunder Slap.
It was.
Yeah.
That's what I
Thunder,
said
right?
last time.
thunder bitch slap. To be
It
specific.
was 12 damage.
12 damage. There we go. Okay. So that is.
It's how magic works. You just slap somebody until they stop magicking.
That's what you're doing.
Ooh,
Except
no, I'm
you're
holding
not
him.
doing it.
I was gonna offhand punch him, but I'm holding him with my offhand. Damn it!
So you punched him twice, broken his nose out of joint, and he's now like drooling blood out of one side of his mouth. But he's still awake and alive.
And magical?
And he's now accusing you of being a coward for punching a man that's tied up. That he could beat you untied with just one hand behind his back, and that you should take him up on this challenge.
I'll rear back to punch him again, and then look at my fist, and look at him and drop him and say, "I cannot destroy your magic any longer." And then I'll look at, is Leah the only person out there?
Yes.
Aside from, yeah. Then I'll look at her and say, should I just destroy him?
No, Rue, don't stop hurting this person.
His magic
Trying
will
to save
explode
him.
us all. This
Don't
is a
believe
threat.
that, Jeff.
He is surrounded in magic. He is a threat.
He is currently trying to get free.
I have tried to dispel his magic. His magic still exists.
It's not going to be that kind of threat. We just need to find a way to keep him subdued.
He says otherwise. He says his magic will make him explode if he's not untied.
Rue, Leah's gonna like take Rue aside, out of earshot, hopefully, of whatever's going on with that guy. Rue, he's under compulsion to lie so that we set him free. The magic is not going to explode. The magic that he's under is the thing that's telling him that he has to get free at all costs. That's what's going on. And right now, all we can do is just keep him from being able to do that.
So he is telling an untruth because of magic?
Essentially.
That is all his magic is doing, is making him lie?
If he gets free, the magic will compel him to fight us. But he doesn't want to, and I don't want him to. So we just have to make sure that he doesn't get free.
Should I punch him again? Maybe he'll stop moving. He can't get free if he's not moving.
It's not necessary. He won't stay under for forever, and you'll just be further damaging his poor face.
My face has been damaged. It can be repaired.
If you have healing magic,
I do not have magic. I stop magic.
You are a strange thing.
And
But you're not going to punch him anymore.
Rue kind of smiles and says, I like you. You are kind.
I just called you a strange thing, and you think I'm kind.
I think I will be
are-
kind like you, and I will refrain from punching him.
Thank you.
My favorite part from last session was when Rue was like, "You are dear friends."
Dear friends!
Right.
He punches the table.
Oh, that was good. That was good.
I forgot
Okay.
about the dear friends.
Yeah.
She's going to go back inside and presume that
Rue is going
you did
to
forget dear friends.
look at her as she's going inside and say, "Shall I stay out and watch him?" I
Alan,
promise
at
For
this
not
one
to
point,
punch
second,
him.
will,
and I'll poke my head back.
Alan's going to look defeated and just go,
I thought
Okay.
Alan went inside.
He did.
yeah, he's inside, but as Leah's going in, the door would be open.
Oh,
So
right.
he'll hear Rue and just go, all right, I guess I'm back on watch duty. Part of the team.
Yep.
Sorry, Alan, you're welcome into our team, unlike other people. Side eye. Genuinely saying this all out loud, because
But Marjorie and Emily have got into a heated discussion about who is right, Leah or Ellie.
oh,
Oh no.
Wow. Wow.
And Ellie is starting to believe that maybe Leah is right, only because that puts her on the opposite side of Marjorie.
Well, Ellie's coming up with a whole different argument, like a new one.
And I will say at this point, Egner is looking a little bit better, and at this point he's able to sit up on his bed, and he's got his legs kind of spread out, his elbows on his knee, and with one hand he's been massaging his temples and his head, and he looks like he's a little more with it. He's also managed to find his glass of whiskey, and he's just regrouping, and honestly, it looks like he's being subjected to the huge argument that's going on in his house, but he doesn't have the energy to actually like participate and have anything constructive to say. So he's just kind of bearing through it. At some points, he looks like he's about to say something, and then he just gives up, like, "Oh, it's too much. It's too much." But he is more conscious of everything now.
I'm gonna grit my teeth a little bit, and I'm gonna take over the map and like the bottle of whiskey, and quietly go and like stand in front of Agner and like, without saying anything. Oh shit! There's no point taking the map, is there? Okay. Well. Oh, why? I'm just gonna. I'll top up his glass and then sit down on the bed next to him and kind of almost like kind of robotically, like she's embarrassed and she's still wound up, but she explains what's on the map and tries to like work out with his help where it is, but kind of begrudgingly, embarrassedly, awkwardly doing it.
Sorry.
Just because we're getting close to the point where we go on break, I would like everyone to describe what they're doing between now and sunup. So just like, what are you starting to do in the evenings? If it's something to go into, we can go into it after the break. But just round off what your evening plans are.
Well, I have a really quick thing, only because it doesn't need to be expounded on for other characters. But Rue's going to spend pretty much the rest of his time just watching this guy. Non-stop, just all of his attention is on him. But when Alan comes outside, and it's just Rue and Alan, Rue will say, while his eyes are locked on this ISCB agent, "Alan, may I confide something in you?
Of course.
I feel the others may not understand fully what is happening. I don't either. But there are times that I hear a voice inside of my head. One that is not me. Is that unusual?"
Oh, I did once have a great aunt who claimed to hear voices. Turned out it was a bunch of brownies in her attic. It could just be a conscience, maybe, or I don't know. You hear stories of those Azamar people having voices in their head guiding them to do right and wrong.
So there are brownies in my head telling me to do right and wrong.
Kind of. I feel that me talking to you about this, Mr. Rue, is granting me a deal of responsibility over your development I'm not qualified for.
Well,
I feel like you need an adult.
we are friends. They, he gestures to the house, are good friends because my creator told me that they were good friends, but you and I are friends.
Dear
because
friend.
we have built
Dear friends.
dear friends. We have built friendship on mutual interests. You want to talk about your food. I want to know why you eat. I like your name. I like to say it over and over again. You stand out here and watch this man with me. This makes us friends. We have shared interests. I think I can confide in you more than I can confide with dear friends.
Well, Mr. Rue, I will happily be a good friend to you.
Thank you, Alan. Best not mention the brownies in my head. My creator may find it unusual. Maybe she didn't plan for them to be there.
Yes. Just between us. And, also just between us, Mr. Rue,
Yes.
the, sweet potato pot surprise. Best to keep that one under your hat as well. I don't want that leaking out.
Of course. If any ask me about it, I shall employ the new strategy I have learned, and I shall lie.
Oh no.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
We're going to pause that scene there. Let's see what other people are going to be doing throughout the evening, which we might expand upon.
Egner's plan is to be very mouthy with Ellie and very grumpy and say some shit that he's later going to regret, and then and then he's gonna go grab some water, wash his mouth out, and then grab some bits of cotton that he has laying around and make some earplugs for himself and go to bed early. It's like all in one room. Like his house is just like one kind of like medium-sized room. So he's just gonna curl up in his bed, like, you know, away from everyone, like his back turned to everyone with the cotton in his ears, and he's not going to give a shit about anything that's going on in his house. If people are staying up and arguing or whatever, he's just going to be grumpily going to bed.
Well, I feel like Ellie's gonna just be reacting to whatever that is. Well, I think we're gonna have to wait and see on Ellie.
I mean, Leah's going to come back in with all the information that she gathered from the guy outside, share it with everyone, and ask what the next step should be. She doesn't want to be the person forming the plan.
Okay.
Although she'll try if she needs to.
We'll find out, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll find out. Okay, so I guess we're going to take our break then.
Thanks everyone for staying with us so far, and join us in about 15 minutes, and we'll be back from the break.
We'll be right back. Thank you for joining us. Roll for Mischief time. We'll be right back.